Welcome to the Marriage Boss Podcast, and I'm pumped up today because I have an amazing young lady who is one of the most patient people on the planet because I not only forgot, canceled, had to reschedule her multiple times, and she is just an angel for joining us today. Diane Gardner is an expert tax coach, Quilly Award recipient, and best-selling author whose proactive planning approach gives clients a leg up on Uncle Sam and helps them dodge the tax bullet. And it is the season for that right now. Diane saves small business clients between $5,000 and $50,000 in as little as 60 minutes. That's amazing. Her tax coaching sessions have resulted in a combined savings of over $700,000 to date, hard-earned profits small business owners would have given to the government by overpaying taxes. Leaving no deduction or credit unexamined, Diane ensures professionals like you pay the least amount of taxes allowed by the law. And there's a whole bunch of other cool stuff here. She's a licensed enrolled agent. She minimizes losses and maximizes profits. She's the co-author of the best-selling book Stand Apart and Why Didn't My CPA Tell Me That? She has also authored 6 other books, including her newest, Stop Overpaying Your Taxes, 11 Ways Entrepreneurs Overpay and How to Stop It Now. And she's created the nationwide Get Off the Wheel practice management solutions for accountants and leads Business Breakthrough Mastermind Group in her hometown of Rathdrum, Ohio. Diane enjoys spending time with her husband, daughter, and grandson. In her spare time, she's active in her church, community organizations, and several local chambers of commerce. And now today, she's on the Marriage Boss Podcast. Diane, welcome to the show.
Rick, thanks so much for having me on your program. And I just want to make one little update that tax savings number now is inching its way closer to $900,000.
Wow. So almost $1 million in savings alone. And,
yes.
It's exciting to have you on today, especially because we are going to have a new government. So we don't know what we're going to have financially. Maybe we're going to have great money management. Maybe we're going to have changes in the code, I'm sure. I'm sure certain people are super happy today. And then there are certain people who are totally afraid of what President Trump is going to do. So it's kind of like a great time to be talking about money and finances. So why don't you jump in and tell us a little bit about what entrepreneurs should be thinking about and doing. We'll spend a few minutes on this because our show is all about serial entrepreneurs taking big leaps in marriage and business. So tell us a little bit about what are your key nuggets for us entrepreneurs?
Wow. Okay, here we go. At the time we're recording this is November, and it is there's still time this year to go ahead and make a difference in your tax outcome. And most people aren't aware that you can plan your way to a lower tax liability. I know that I was in this camp many years ago, as well as most entrepreneurs and business owners, that you gather all your information up, you take it into your accountant during tax time, they do the tax return, and here's your bill. And you grumble and you gripe and you finally pay it. Okay. Well, if you're working with somebody who understands and takes a proactive planning approach, you still have time to make a difference in that final outcome. There's still time to put together tax plans and put together strategies that will save money. And people who do that generally save. Usually my minimum savings for somebody is about $3,000 a year. I've had clients as high as $30,000 or $40,000 a year.
Wow.
By just hopping in and making some changes on the way they're doing business. And most of the time, it's looking at things like their entity type. Have they outgrown that entity type as their business has been growing? They're so busy growing their business, they're not paying attention to that type of stuff. They're busy. Yeah. So if we pop in and do an entity analysis or whatever, we might take a look at their retirement planning. Do they even have a retirement plan in place? Or do they have the right one for the stage of where they are in business? Because as our businesses grow, we tend to outgrow things that were fine earlier when we were first getting started in business. Then there's a whole lot of small things like, are we taking advantage of meals and entertainment, mileage, your auto expense, travel, home office, just hiring your family, writing off your medical expenses through your business. There's a ton of small stuff that can still be done before the year's over. So it's not too late, but we can't procrastinate. We're down to that final 6 weeks or so of the year. We can't procrastinate. We've got to be on full steam ahead right now.
And as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about those of us who may not have an accountant. We're either doing our taxes ourselves, or we're just going to H&R Block or something like that, where it's kind of like just a structured, you're in there a half hour and, something is spit out of a computer. And so the scary part about that is that most of us entrepreneurs have a specialty that is not finance. And so
Right.
we're doing our thing. So let's just take me, for example. Coaches, people in the healing arts, creatives, people who specialize in something that is as far away from money and planning as can be. A lot of entrepreneurs became entrepreneurs because they don't like structure. They don't like going to a place every day or working in a traditional job or an environment. And so they've become their own boss because they wanted the freedom. But with that comes a huge responsibility, and we often neglect and or don't even know about this financial element. So that's why so many entrepreneurs are struggling, failing, or completely out of business, not making any money at all. So can you address the issue of this species of entrepreneur and why we are so bad at paying attention to the main thing? I mean, we're supposed to be in business to make money. We all say now, well, I'm in business because I love it and whatever. But let's be honest, we're working every day to make money. So why are so many entrepreneurs not even making any money, and most of us are just struggling to be in business and stay in business?
Well, Rick, I think that boils down to, I think they get so busy doing whatever it is that they're doing every day that they don't get to step back and take a more of an outside, unemotional type look at what's going on in their business. And that's where
unemotional.
Unemotional, yes.
Yeah.
That's where I think that third party coaching type person gives you that look. I know when I meet with my own business coach, she'll nail something in my business that I hadn't even seen because my blinders were on. I'm trying to get that next financial statement out the door, that next tax plan out the door, that next tax return out the door.
Mm-hmm.
I got to return 15 phone calls. Meanwhile, my employees need my help. And at the end of the day, it's like, what a whirlwind. And I think most of us operate our businesses like that. So you need that person who will come in and give you that objective, unemotional look at what's going on in your business and point you in the right direction of what needs to be done, and maybe even go far enough that they will help you implement it or maybe do it for you. Mm-hmm. Because we're just so busy.
Now, how can someone, obviously we're in an online age today, so a lot of the people that I help, I'm either connecting with them by phone or Skype, FaceTime, or some form of out of the local area communication. So some people in our audience today might be thinking, well, don't I need an accountant or a CPA or someone in my state who's got a license in the state that I live in to help me with this type of thing? So how does someone like you, who happens to be in Idaho, help someone like me in New York or anywhere else in the country?
Fortunately, we do live in the age of technology. Just like you and I are having this conversation over Skype,
yeah.
I meet with clients all the time from all kinds of states throughout the country via Skype, okay, or Zoom or phone or whatever works best for them. And it makes a great way to still have that face-to-face interaction that probably even 5-10 years ago I wasn't able to have with my out-of-state clients. We would get on the phone, but we just, it wasn't the same as you and I sitting here. We can see each other, we can visit, we can do whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that it's pretty easy to work, for myself, working nationwide is pretty easy. Fortunately for me, I have a group of about 400 other certified tax coaches spread across the U.S. So with you being in New York, if there's something I'm not comfortable about on that New York tax return, I'm going to pop into one of my friends who happens to do business in New York, and I'm going to say, hey, this is what I'm running up against. Can you help? And he'll just go, sure. And the same thing when he gets somebody out on the West Coast, he's going to go, Diane, help. What's going on? What is this weird tax that's showing up on this state? And so we get on the phone and we email each other back and forth. I've got another tax coach friend who lives in Texas. And so we reach out to each other, and that helps overcome the weirdness of some of the states when you don't live in that state and you don't really understand all the rules and laws of that particular state.
Cool.
So we've got a team that we build.
Cool. So we don't have to worry about the borders and the legality of state to state stuff anymore.
Not, especially not for somebody like myself who's an enrolled agent, because I'm licensed by the IRS to do business in all 50 states.
Okay.
So I really don't have to worry about that. Some of the other licenses might have a few more restrictions on it, but I don't. And so
Cool.
I can pretty well go wherever, as long as it's within the U.S.
Awesome.
to help people. So that has opened up my ability to help clients pretty much wherever they are. Before I used to be more limited to just our local geographic area.
Okay, cool. All right, so that helps, allay any fears that somebody might have. Can I get coaching from someone who doesn't live and work in my state? So that really opens up a lot of doors to the best expertise in a given area. So let's talk a little bit about now how the conversations around money and especially tax planning or accounting in our small businesses and in our entrepreneurial lives affect our partners. So let's talk about that touchy ground, especially for entrepreneurs. A lot of times we don't want to tell our partners what's going on. We're not making any money. We're spending too much money. We have no control or idea about our finances. So how can you help? And what are some of the things that we should do in order to come clean with our partners and start to have a marriage and a business that matters?
Those are hard conversations to have.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I've got a husband who's very understanding, and he has a really unique perspective because he's not an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. He works for Costco. So he works for corporate America type thing. Mm-hmm. And he's married to somebody who's very entrepreneurial. Okay. And that I will take leaps and chances that he does not feel comfortable with. Okay. But that's that entrepreneurial bone in me. Yeah. And so there's times I have to sit down with him and really say, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And he'll think about it for a while, and eventually he'll either give me yeah, that sounds like a good idea, or I'm not real comfortable with that, but I trust you to be able to make the decisions you need to make for your business. Mm-hmm. And as long as he trusts me, then we're in it together. And if it works, great. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I try something and it backfires on me. But because we made some of the big decisions together, there's no finger pointing of, well, I told you so. And I think that's really key to helping us have a really good relationship, especially with the long hours that I work sometimes.
Yeah, now it sounds like you may have more experience in your relationship than some of our listeners who are not together with their partner as long. And then also it sounds like a degree of honesty between the two of you where you were not afraid to say, sometimes I'm going to win, sometimes I'm going to lose. And because I know your nature and your attention to detail and your follow-up, I'm guessing that you're pretty good at succeeding in a lot of these things that you try. So maybe you don't fail as much as you succeed. So how can we get the people out there who are afraid to talk to their partner, either because they don't have as much foundation as you, they're not as honest as you, or they maybe have failed miserably way more than they've succeeded, so they have a pretty bad reputation with their spouse or partner? How can we help those people who are not as successful or lucky as you and I to take the step to get where we are?
Well, I'm going to say that I had a couple trial runs. How's that?
All right, that's good.
And in those trial runs, my ex-husband did not agree with anything I did in business. Okay. And we had a constant struggle. Okay. We finally ended up parting ways. Okay. And so I was not really keen on ever getting married again. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of the things that Mike, my husband, and I talked about when we were dating, was this business and how it can consume me at times, and how I need flexibility beyond what he needs for his job. And so we spent a lot of time talking about those things before we ever decided to make a go of this relationship. Okay. Because I was concerned after having gone through what I went through with my ex-husband. Yeah. So I think the key for us is that honesty part, not holding things back. Now, he doesn't hear all the small decisions that I make throughout the office, only the big ones.
Yeah.
Because as an entrepreneur, you're making decisions constantly throughout your day.
Yeah.
And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I've made several decisions over the years that really just flat out did not work at all. And you just back up and you take another run at it and you go for it again. But I think over time, you start learning, especially if you're working with a business coach and if you're part of a mastermind group and some of those types of things, you start learning by listening to other people's successes. And eventually you start saying, okay, this is how it needs to be done because this is how the successful people are doing it. And then you start getting more successes in your corner than what you had before.
That's a good point, and certainly we need to try to model people who are coming before us who are more successful and get around nourishing, uplifting people with some common sense and some financial sense. How can we deal with this new online business world? Because a lot of us are trying to make money either selling a product or a service over the internet and in an online fashion. So how do you translate the brick and mortar world we used to live in to the online world now, where it's a new frontier for a lot of people because of the technology and the fear of just too much information and all that kind of stuff? How can you help us with making sense of that insanity and mystery?
Well, I know for myself, I have my traditional brick and mortar office, but I also do a lot online.
Okay.
I am very active on social media. You see me interviewed on podcasts, radio shows all the time. I have products that are being sold out on the internet.
Okay.
I did not know how to do any of that, so I found a really good virtual assistant. Okay. I actually have 3 of them, and they each do different pieces for me.
Cool.
And because of their knowledge, I'm able to participate in that arena, even though I'm probably not very tech savvy at all when it comes to some of that stuff.
Okay.
But they know how to do it. As long as I create the products, they know how to market them and sell them and make them successful for me. So I would say surround yourself with something like that. Reach out to a virtual assistant. They each have their own little specialties, and they can take that learning curve that would take you maybe months or years to learn down to a very short period of time, because that's what they do day in and day out.
So basically, if we have a passion or an expertise, we should not try to do it all ourselves. We should focus on the thing we do best and then let someone else build the back end, manage the tech and the stuff that we're not comfortable with or not good at.
Right. Hire your weakness.
Oh,
because
good one. Golden boulder. Hold on, people. Hold on. One more time, Diane.
Work your strengths and hire your weaknesses.
Oh my God, that's the golden boulder right there. Wow. Hire your weakness. Oh my God. Boy, did I need to hear that myself today. That is good stuff. So, and did you arrive at this, like most of us, through trial and error? Did you try to do it yourself?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's certain things I just flat out stink at.
Oh man.
And so I make sure that I surround myself with other people on my team who are good at that type of stuff. I've got an awesome admin here in my office. Some of the things she does, I just would grit my teeth if I had to do it.
Yeah.
And she enjoys doing it.
So you got to.
I have my virtual assistant team as well.
So you got to be willing to put out some money and pay people to do the things you can't or won't do.
Right.
Okay.
Because down the road, it all comes back to you. But because they're doing those things, then I can do what I do best, which is helping you guys, educating people. I love to teach. And so getting out on a podcast like this where I can educate people a little bit is what makes me feel fulfilled and satisfied. And so that's what I need to be doing, and putting together tax plans for people and working with them and watching the light bulb come on when they grasp a concept that I'm teaching them, and all of a sudden it's making a difference in their business. I shouldn't be worried about how to get my blog up on my website. I don't even know how to do that.
Now,
and that's not what I should put my time into.
How far will you go with helping entrepreneurs to really hit the nail on the head if they're missing the bullseye in really just bringing in either leads or generating revenues and then profits? How far will you go, down the path with them and dig into their businesses to find out what's wrong?
Most of the time when I run into that type of a situation, they're working with a business coach. And so I align myself with their business coach.
Okay.
And their coach is normally working on that type of side of the business.
Okay.
And I'm working on recording the numbers, the outcome, feeding data back to them so they're measuring whatever it is, the various pieces that they're measuring. And we generally work hand in hand that way. And so far, that's been a great team effort to help the individual entrepreneur get to the goals that they're trying to meet.
So you have a boundary. You don't go into the business coaching part.
Nope.
You stay on the tax coaching side.
I stay on the tax coaching side with a little bit of accounting help, some bookkeeping, some things like that, where that pulls those numbers together so that coach can do their job.
Okay. This sounds like something we all need more of. Tell us how we can find your books, how we can find you, where you are online, and how anybody listening and watching today could find you.
Well, Rick, the best place for someone to find me is www.taxcoachforyou.com, and we use the number 4 in that website address.
Okay.
When you first come onto my site, there's going to be a little light box that pops up that says download this bundle. You can download the bundle. If you want to go further, I love to give away copies of my books. You click on the tab that says books, and there's several books out there for free. We do have a couple that we sell, but there's a bunch of them out there for free that we just ask that you pay the shipping fee, which is $4.99 on there. Cool. And that allows me to get it in the mail to you, because I like to send real books that you can highlight, you can write notes in, because people do. And we give away a book called The 10 Most Expensive Mistakes That Cost You Thousands. I have a generic version out there. I have a real estate version. I have a contractor's version. Very soon we'll have a medical professional's version and a dentist version out there.
Cool.
So we believe in niching.
Exciting. I want to know when the dentist version comes out, because I run a dental practice. So I want to know about that one. That's good. So this was so much fun. I'm glad again that you had the patience to stick with me through all of this scheduling insanity. It was a joy to have you on. You gave us some good tidbits and some golden boulders, not just nuggets, but that I'm going to remember that one. So Diane, it was wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me, and have a great day, everybody.
You too.